Bojo, hello everyone. We'll just go ahead and get introductions started as some folks hopefully start trickling into the webinar. We are recording this webinar so that folks are able to access this later if they're unable to attend today, or if there's portions that you want to go back to later on, you're more than welcome to do that as well. My name is Mary Belzook, and I'm the Communications Director here at the Indigenous Food and Ag Initiative. I'm a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and I'm going to be helping with some of the background. So ask questions throughout. If you want to come off mute anytime, definitely do that. These are informal, very conversational type webinars, and we want to get to know you all more. So definitely feel like you can do that. But we'll also have a portion at the end for Q&A as well. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Meagen Baldy, who is our food safety specialist here at IFAI, and she has a great webinar for you today.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Meagen Baldy. I'm the food safety specialist with the Indigenous Food and Ag Initiative. I am a Hupa Valley tribal member residing on the Hupa Valley Indian Reservation. And today we're excited to be able to come with our last part of our series of farmers market. And this one is community buy-in. And so I'm excited to show you guys some things that have been going on in my community. I started working with the Klamath Trinity Conservation District a little over 12 years ago. When I first started, I didn't know much about food sovereignty, food security. We started with the CSA program, and so I started learning more about farmers in the area, more about food, and a lot of what I was doing was part of food security. And so, I wanted to kind of take you guys on the community engagement portion of our farmers market. I'm going to start screen sharing. Again, like Mary Bell said, she's going to be in the background. She's going to be fielding questions. If you guys want to drop them in the chat, you can always come off mute. Since we have such a small amount of participants today, you can come off mute and ask questions throughout. We want this to be a very engaging webinar with you guys today. And so we're excited to be able to have you guys ask as many questions as you want. I'm going to start screen sharing my desktop. And so I am going to be showing you guys the PowerPoint that we put together for you guys. Let's see. Can you guys all see? Sorry, let me exit out. All see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Looks
Yes,
good.
I can see it.
Awesome. So again, this is our community engagement portion of our farmers market series. We are Indigenous Food and Ag Initiative. It started at the University of Arkansas Law by Stacy Leitz and Janie Sims Hip in 2013. Our mission is to enhance health and wellness in tribal communities by advancing healthy communities, healthy food systems, diversified economic development, and cultural food traditions in Indian country. This is the one pager that Mary Bell sent out to a bunch of you in the beginning. It's just kind of going over the thinking that we did behind putting together this series. When we started thinking about how to get more farmers market in Indian country, this is one of the ones that, we kind of came up with. So it's like creating those events. So we're going to think of creative ways to incorporate the community with events like the Klamath Trinity Conservation District's annual Blackberry Festival on the Hupa Valley Indian Reservation. So by that, we mean creating events that are relevant to your community, to your audience. And then we're going to incorporate arts, working with local bands, musicians, as well as artists and artisans that can help build forms of community engagement. Also not forgetting about the age demographics in your community, whether it's with your youth and your elders. You can partner with local youth organizations to assign youth roles like table setup, as well as reach out to local elder programs. And then utilizing programs, accepting TANF, SNAP, and other nutrition programs can ensure that all of the community can enjoy the farmers market. So this is our one pager. This kind of sums up a lot of the things that we did at our Monday night markets in Hupa. So, to start, it's the advertisement and trying to appeal to your local community. One of the things that we found are beneficial is not only to advertise one time, but to advertise multiple forms of advertisement, whether it's social media. We advertise on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and be able to send out these flyers that we have. We also use the local tribal newspaper. We have a partnership with our local radio station, KIDE, and they share a lot of our information out there, and a lot of it is free except for the local newspaper. We pay for advertisement. A lot of those things that we do with regards to advertisement when we're writing grants, we think about these types of things that we need to apply for in the grant. So, having an advertisement line in your grant is important. We also like to, show that on our advertisement that we need vendors. So it could be not only just with the constant farmers market. So this one last year was our farmers market flyer, went from July 3rd to October 9th. And it was every Monday night, 5 to 7 on the Hupa Valley tribal lawn. And so we actually were at the tribal office location now. It has our contact information, vendors wanted. We take EBT, so we have our CalFresh. That is our local SNAP Ed program. It's called CalFresh in California. You might have it might be different according to your state, what the name of that SNAP Ed program is. One of the things that is very abundant in our community in this time of the year, in this farmers market season, is blackberries. And so we host an annual blackberry festival. Just because they're everywhere, people will have free access to picking those blackberries. We usually do a blackberry pie contest, and the winner will receive $100. So we have people that come and submit those pies, which has been really beneficial because it's something that people love to do in our community, is to, bake and show off their baking skills. We also advertise for vendors and kind of give them an idea of what we're looking for, whether it's like blackberry lemonade, selling blackberry pies, blackberry cobblers, anything that had anything blackberry inspired, we did. Last year we did, because October 9th was our last farmers market. I think it was October 9th, that it was Indigenous Peoples Day, and that was going to be the last one. So we actually did an Indigenous Peoples Day farmers market, which we not only highlighted, the local vendors, but like indigenous foods. We had our freeze dry lady. She made like a ton of different mushrooms and traditional foods that she freeze dried. But also like we had vendors that did like salmon on sticks. We did like a salmon on stick plate it was the local Safe and Sober fundraiser. They came and did like a salmon sticks and like beans and just different things on the plate that were, and it highlighted traditional foods. We had somebody come and do an acorn soup demonstration. So it was really neat to have the community show up, and they really will engage if you tailor these events according to your community. The EBT voucher program, this has been one of the things that have been the most engaging with our community. We developed these vouchers with the SNAP Ed program to be tailored towards not only those that need to do like a market match with their SNAP funds, but also to our elders. One of the things that in our communities, our elders and our youth are our most vulnerable population. And so we want it to be able to provide something for them and also make the market about them. Just because, there's so many things out there in our communities that highlight other demographic age groups, but we wanted to also make sure that our elders were highlighted as part of an essential part of our farmers market. And so we give them $10 a week, and they come to market. They're very scheduled. If I miss a market at times, sometimes it could be like too smoky because of maybe wildfires in the area, or maybe like we have like a storm come through. These elders will call me up and say, hey, like what happened to farmers market? We went there, nobody was there. And I was like, it was super smoky outside, or the rain was happening. But they're very scheduled, and they're very much, on time and making sure that they get their vouchers. We also are allowed to use these vouchers to, purchase hot food. So like if we have we have like a couple vendors that have food trailers now. We have, many fundraisers within our community, like eighth grade fundraising, safe and sober. Just kids, maybe they're fundraising for sports stuff. They sell hot food at those markets. So we allow them to use that at any of our vendors. And so they really enjoy that, because not only do they get the $10, but they could support one of their, community members, whether it's like supporting that fundraiser, supporting their youth. So they really appreciate these vouchers. Market match, we don't have a limit on our market match. So like if you swipe it, we give you dollar for dollar. We have little tokens that we give out once they swipe. So if you swipe $20, we give you $40 worth of tokens. It was really, a beneficial program, especially like if you are a vendor, like we have one that does beef production, and they sell shares of beef, and their share sizes might be 100 to 200. So for them, if they swiped $100, and we gave them an additional $100 for that market match, the vendor gets the full price of selling their beef, but also the recipient gets it half price. So having these grants and having this funding available for them really made a difference when it came to that in community engagement, and not only for our vendors, but for the person that was swiping their EBT. You really want to build your vendor population. This is again the person I was talking about with the beef. We went after fundings to build our vendor population. Our grants help producers with capital. So some of our grants help, producers with buying soil, seeds, starts, amendments, drip systems, or it could have been like, maybe it was like where we have beef boxes, packaging material, advertisement, those types of things that helped our vendor with that initial capital to begin to start. They are the ones that are going to be the reason why people come to your market. So building this vendor population is essential. Having a diverse vendor population is even more essential. Like we have our beef producer, we have a honey man, we have a freeze-dried lady, we have a value-added product maker that does jams, jellies, salsas. And then we have our vegetable and produce vendors. So it's all a different array of vendors. But, if you're going to be building this vendor population, it means a lot of work on the end of that market manager. And it becomes a full-time job during the market season. And when I say that, it's me being the market manager that has been in my community for, these 6 years that we've been having the farmers market. I've had to do Indian taco sales. I've had to do taco sales, multiple different sales of food just to get people to come. Because our market is 5 to 7, it's during a time of dinner. And so a lot of people are coming just to get dinner. And so that took a lot of work on my end, was to provide that hot meal, and a reason to bring the community into the market. So it's a full-time job for most market managers to build this vendor population, but it is so worth it because your vendors really appreciate that hands-on market manager. Another thing that we were able to do for our vendors is, when we first started, we wrote a role development grant for community facilities, and we were able to purchase tables, chairs, pop-ups, those kinds of things, so that we could allow the vendors not only a space, but actually having a table, a chair, and pop-up access, so that they don't have to pack an additional item when packing up for their market. This really helps our elder population, which we have a lot of elder vendors. They're already packing up a ton of, fruits, vegetables. We have one vendor that sells a lot of melons. And so she's already packing up a ton of melons with regards to what she's going to be selling at market. And it could be a lot of weight. And it also could be a lot of extra additional room to have a table and chair in their car or in their truck that they're packing to come up to market. So this has been a benefit. Another benefit is that I do have, going back to the slide where it had talked about getting youth involved. I have 4 boys. They are the backbone of our farmers market. If it wasn't for them, I would have to use my back on moving these tables, chairs, and pop-ups around. But thankful for them, they have nice young backs. But they enjoy farmers market. They've been doing it since it's been happening. It's kind of been a part of their identity. They don't schedule things during market season. They're pretty funny about it. They're like, they'll tell their track coach or their coach that they can't do Mondays for practice because they have Monday night market, which has been really amazing that they really think about being there as part of an essential part of the community, but also helping our vendors. Like I said, we have a lot of vendors that are elderly or older, and they actually help their vendors unload every time. They help them unload all their produce and set up their spaces so that they can start selling at farmers market. Without them, we would be definitely in serious trouble and definitely have some weaker backs. So I am going to show you guys a slideshow. I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to show you guys a slideshow of our farmers market. This is a good chance at the moment, if you guys have a second, you want to ask a question, or if there's any questions in the comments, please feel free to ask.
Those extra vendors that those extra vouchers that you give elders in your community, did you start by finding funding for that and then tell your vendors that they have to accept them, or did they want to accept them and then you found funding?
So yeah, we found the funding at first, and we not only use the SNAP bed funding, but we also work with the tribal TANF department, and TANF also provides vouchers. So they were kind of like where we first started doing vouchers was working with the tribal TANF department. They wanted to provide these vouchers because, again, when we started, I was working with the CSA program. It was called Veggie Club, and we would do like $10 shares weekly. So they were already working with us in that, and we just kind of just rolled over what we were doing with Veggie Club over to the farmers market. And so they started the voucher program, but we seen that there was a need to get more people involved. The vendors, they really just were like, yes, we will take vouchers. So how we do it is we do the vouchers, and they're like paper, whether they're from TANF or they're from for the elders. They write down on, so like say they bought $3 from so and so. So there's a place on the back where you can write down the name of the vendor and how much. And then they just keep taking that vendor voucher all around until they spend the $10. And then those vendors will be able to, like at the end, redeem those vouchers with us. And we just carry cash at the end of each market, and we pay them directly right at the market. All right, I'm going to start our slideshow. All right, so let me see, make sure I can exit out of here and back into our PowerPoint. So that's, like a snapshot of our farmers market. And, that was one of our Blackberry Festival events and a couple of our other events that we had going on. And it shows on a lot of what we've done as a community. And, I always get excited when I see those pictures and I see all of the faces because I know everybody in those pictures. And that's kind of the way that we were able to get our community engaged. We wanted to leave this opportunity for you guys to ask questions.
Meagen, what were some of the first steps you took to get that community buy-in when you were getting started, just looking back a few years ago now?
I think the first steps that we took was definitely the location. So when we first started, we were located at the community garden, and a lot of people didn't know where that was. And so we decided to put it in a place where we knew people were going to go all the time, especially during that time. So we put it next to our local credit union or our local bank. Because everybody was going to the bank at 5 o'clock before it closed at 5:30. And so we were like, okay, that'll be the location. And then during COVID, they shut us down from that location because the tribe wanted to keep an eye on us, they said. But they put us in front of the tribal office right there. where it's all nice and grass and green and nice shade there. And so that just became our permanent location since COVID, and it's worked out perfectly. So I think the location was the biggest thing, because when we first started, we had like 3 vendors, and we had, just basically the people that were us that showed up. So that was like, okay, how could we rethink this and start getting more people engaged?
How big is your community? I'm just wondering how transferable this would be to rural places.
So I think our population is somewhere around like 3,200 or 32 to 5,000. So we're very rural. We have one gas station, one store, and we have no stoplights. We're about 60 miles from the nearest large corporate store, so we're pretty rural.
Even though you're rural, I think it's really smart how you guys thought about what other communities are doing farmers market wise or market wise around when you were picking the day of the week too. So although that's during the week, Monday was very strategic for you all. So that might be something for folks to think about too. So would you want to maybe just talk a little bit about how y'all landed on Monday night?
Yeah, so the again, traveling to the nearest farmers market at that time was like close to 50 to 60 miles away on the coast. And so some of our farmers were a part of that farmers market community in the beginning. And so that was on Saturdays. So we basically talked to our farmers that we were working with at the time, and they said, if I'm picking for Saturday market, especially if you got some that didn't sell at market, they would be able to hold that produce or those vegetables over until Monday. And so that was kind of how we came up with the Monday night markets being on that day, was so that we could also help those producers that were picking produce to be able to sell that produce in a timely manner.
And how'd y'all land on the Blackberry Festival as an idea for an event?
It was just like we were deciding like, okay, we need to get people to come in. And so we decided that we wanted to host an event that would spark people's interest. Blackberries are an abundance in our community. And so we were like, okay, we could do like a Blackberry festival, because people already, sell cobblers and pies and, blackberry jams and stuff like that. So we wanted to tailor around what they were already doing, and that fit. And so we just did the Blackberry Festival, and it's been a huge success every year. And we try to tie it into, so our tribe has an annual Sovereign's Day event in August. And so we tie it, they usually do the event Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, and they do some events on Saturday during our Sovereign's Day. So it kind of fit right into Monday being another additional part of that event. So there's a lot of people that, come, like tribal members that live off reservation. They're here during that time. So it was just kind of a fit that we figured out would work perfectly.
No, I love what y'all have done. And one day I'd love to see something down here, like pecans. For us, there's pecans everywhere, even where our wow grounds used to be. That's an old grove of pecans. It's a Potawatomi word as well. So I guess one day, here's my plug. I would love to see my tribe do something similar with something that we have here and helped us sustain when we got to Oklahoma. So there's just a lot of stories around it. And yes, there's a pecan tree in almost everybody's backyard. My grandpa, I know his pecans always tasted the best, no matter what. So very cool stuff that you all are doing, though, and so grateful for you sharing your information and expertise, so that hopefully we can see more farmers markets popping up across Indian country. And we'd love for those who are attending or tuning in later, if you do go to start a farmers market, stay in touch. We want to hear about it. If there's some other resources that we could, provide to help you be successful. We want to be able to do that. So please stay in touch. Just because this series is over does not mean that, the conversation has to end. So we're just grateful for y'all tuning in, and hopefully you've been able to take away some good information, just like myself. I'm really, I've loved this series for sure.
Yeah, Milo, I see you. Hi, Milo. Did you have a question?
Hello. Yes, thank you. I also wanted to just say thank you. I've learned so much, and I'm really very excited also to go back and review the leveraging programs piece also. I think it's everything you've said is, makes so much sense, and I'm remembering what you said earlier about how organizing a farmer's market can be a full-time job, and so I'm hoping to find funding for that and make that a reality here at the Bishop Paiute Tribe. And I'm wondering if you could share anything about, is that you? Are you doing that full time? How has the market managed to find, full, the support? And at this point, it seems like your boys know exactly what to do. There seems to be a good amount of vendor buy-in, and they just know when to come. But how are you organizing it and doing the media and outreach and stuff now?
So, now that I work with IFAI, I still engage fully with my farmers market, but I'm kind of in the background and assisting. I had one of those moments this year where I came back and I literally bawled at farmers market because I seen the community members that took over and were able to be there to support it. So some of those women that you seen with the vouchers in the pictures, they stepped up and they took over, and it didn't stop because I wasn't around, because working for IFAI, I travel a ton. And so, there was times that I wasn't able to be there and be engaged in market. So they really stepped up and took the torch and are continuing to do it. But it is definitely something that was me in the beginning, and now there's 3 people that are doing it. So, and again, my boys are still helping to do it. But it just takes one person that's super passionate about it and being able to develop and put on a market, and to put that time equity into it is essential, and I couldn't have done it without my boys. I think of them as an essential part of market. I'm thinking about hopefully we can get youth engagement when they leave to be able to help, and I think that's a very possible thing. Because they're juniors and sophomores in high school right now. So I got a couple more years with them. But when I was gone, they were calling me on the phone and they were like, Mom, we're here, we're setting up market with, Future and Nins, and we're helping. And so they called me and they actually were the ones directing the tables and the vendors and, and helping to support them. So they were my little mini me soldiers. And I think I was with you at that produce safety training when they called me and were like, Mom, we're here, and so it's one of those things that I am very thankful and very fortunate, but that was that community engagement. And I think that now the community sees it as a part of them, and it's something that they want to be able to, make sure it doesn't go away and make sure that it continues.
Great. That helps a lot. So it sounds you're saying that it's a lot of volunteer work, and there's not a formal position that is, paid for by some grant or, as a farmers market coordinator right now. Is that true? Or
you can get funding through SNAP Ed to do that. Again, I would totally lean on the SNAP Ed. CalFresh would be in your area. I went through the county and wrote an agreement through them, and it's kind of like a turnover agreement. We haven't run into a time where that agreement hasn't been refunded. Again, it's very minimal. We also put in there our community garden, so to manage the community garden and the farmers market. So it's kind of like an all-encompassing position. But yeah, you can write it into funding, but the people that I talked about, except for my boys, they actually get paid from, we've got funds through Native American Ag Fund or the CalFresh grant to be able to facilitate it. So yes, it does take funding to do, but you know, my boys, they're the volunteers of it all.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we'll start taking questions. Feel free to come off mute and ask any questions. We've got a lot of time left, and so yeah, we're here to answer any questions or comments that you guys have.
Well, Megan, I'm glad you mentioned Native American Ag Fund because the application period for them is open right now. So this is a great time to go and look at the different areas that they are looking to fund for this next year or two and seeing where your programs or some of your dreams might be able to fit into that. So definitely go check that out. I just put their web address in the chat.
Yeah, and you know, Native American Ag Fund has been crucial to our Klamath Trinity Resource Conservation District. A lot of what they have is access to capital. So, you know, their whole theme is access to capital, bringing producers to that. And so having a market availability is, you know, it ties right into their goals of those that are writing grants. So we were able to tie in farmers market as an access to a stable market for them. You know, we're working in with, you know, not only having, like, we had, like I said, we started the market Monday because of the Saturday markets, but now we have like a farm to school thing going on. We have an LFPA funds that came through to Hupa. So not only did we build our vendor population, we're also having them access different areas of market. So it's not just like, okay, we only got Monday to do it. Some of their produce can go over to now the LFPA program and go into elder boxes. Having that stable market is something that you really have to think about when we're building that vendor population, or we're building up those producers in your community, because they got to have an area where they can offload their produce to, you know, whether it's, you know, market or the store. In our previous webinars, we talked about you know, getting trainings and TAs set up for those producers. One of those was the produce safety training. All of our vendors have taken that produce safety training for our farmers market, which IFAI offers for tribal communities for free. I run those produce safety trainings. So I would be coming to your community to provide those. That's been a benefit, but also it's not only just for our farmers market. Our producers use that to sell their produce to the tribal store. They use it to, they're going to use it for the LFPA program through our For Dipper program. So it's not only just having them be able to sell it at our market, it also opens up other areas of market availability.
Great point so far, Megan. And if you come up with a question later on that you didn't think to ask, or if you just were too shy to ask, definitely reach out. I will put Megan's email address in the chat. Megan's email will also be included on my follow-up that I'll probably send out tomorrow with access to this recording and the slides as well. So again, if you think of something later, definitely get in touch. We'd be happy to answer anything you might have.
And then, let's see, this little thing is always in the way. You know, if, we have our Facebook page, Indigenous Food and Ag and Food Sovereignty, on our Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. So if you ever need to find any of us, like maybe you didn't remember our emails or anything, we have a lot of different platforms that Indigenous Food and Ag are on. We provide, like I said, the produce safety training. We provide a bunch of different other areas of resources for tribal communities that are building up their you know, their local food systems. I also do like canning classes and teaching people how to preserve foods. So we tied that into our produce safety training. Is like we just got done doing one where I taught people how to make how to can buffalo, and also the produce safety training. So we do a ton of different stuff, and within our organization, we have some of the most brilliant minds. We have our comms team, so they're always putting out amazing material with regards to what's going on in Indian country with ag. So make sure that you follow our social media platforms. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me or Mary Bell or any of us on staff.
Miigwech, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, let me know if you guys need anything. Appreciate your guys' time, and thanks for tuning in and seeing a snapshot of my community and our farmers market.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.